City.
You know what the name of that one?
Has Somewhere My Love.
Yes. Like that.
Made me cry.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a sentimental old gal anyway.
What's your favorite hymn?
Well, I like Count Your Blessings.
I can do that.
Is one of my favorite hymns, and I like. I can't think of them now.
Okay, if you think of it, then let me know. I'll put it on.
Okay. Wonderful. It really is.
Yeah,
I can hear the music, but I can't think of the name of it.
Okay, I'll play you my favorite.
Okay. You know, in my younger days, I used to give readings, and I can sing a little bit.
Oh, really?
And I gave a reading about Come, Come Ye Saints, and when it came to the end of it, I sang one verse, Come, Come Ye Saints. And I was a hit.
Right on. That's very good. Good memories.
I don't remember the reading, of course. But you know what's funny? I remember every word of 3 poems I learned in high school. Long poems.
Really?
Do you want to say them for us?
Oh,
I'd love to hear them.
I don't know about that. Do you like cowboy poetry?
Yeah.
I do.
Well, this is a long one.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just do this one.
Well, this is one that my mother said to me when I was a little girl. So you know, I think it's the oldest cowboy poem known. And it has you've got to remember that it's very old.
Yeah.
It was written about the time that the Spanish people settled in Texas. And to them, the Rio Grande was the Rio Grande. And so I have to say that.
Okay.
And this is I always say this is a story that an old cowboy told me. He said, I want free life, and I want fresh air. And I sighed for the canter after the cattle, the crack of whips like shots in battle, the melee of horns and hoofs and heads, that wars and wrangles and scatters and spreads, the green beneath, the blue above, and dash and danger and life and love and Alaska. Alaska used to ride on a mouse-gray Mustang close by my side. In blue serape and bright bells burr, I laughed with joy as I looked at her. Little knew she of book or creed, an Ave Maria sufficed her need. Little she cared save to be by my side, to ride with me and ever to ride, from San Saba shore to Alaska's tide. She was as wild as the breezes that blow. She was as bold as the billows that beat. From her little head to her little feet she swayed in her suppleness to and fro, with each gust of passion. A sapling vine that grows on the edge of a Kansas bluff and wars with the wind when the weather is rough is like this Alaska, this love of mine. She would hunger that I might eat. She would take the bitter and leave me the sweet. But once, when I made her jealous for fun, at something I'd whispered or looked or done, one Sunday down in San Antonio, to a glorious girl on the Alamo, well, she drew from her garter a dear little dagger, and sting of a wasp, it made me stagger, an inch to the left or an inch to the right, and I wouldn't be yonder in here tonight. But she sobbed, and sobbing so quickly bound her torn rebosa about the wound. I quite forgave her. Scratches don't count in Texas, down to the Rio Grande. Her eyes were brown, a deep, deep brown, and her hair was darker than her eyes, and something in her smile or frown, curl crimson lip and instep high, showed that there ran in each blue vein, mixed with the milder Aztec strain, the vigorous vintage of old Spain. She was alive in every limb, with feeling to the fingertips, and when the sun was like a fire, and the sky one shining soft sapphire, one does not drink in little sips. The air was heavy, and the night was hot. I sat by her side and forgot the herds that were taking their rest, forgot the air was close abreast, that the Texas norther comes sudden and soon, in the dead of night or the blaze of noon, and that once that herd at its breath take fright, nothing on earth can stop that flight. And woe to the rider, and woe to the steed that falls in front of that mad stampede. Was that thunder? I grasped the cord of my swift Mustang without a word. I sprang to the saddle, she clung behind, away on a hot chase down the wind. And never was oxen half so hard, and never was steed so little spared, for we rode for our lives. You shall hear how we fared in Texas, down to the Rio Grande. The Mustang flew, and I urged him on. There was one chance left, and you have but one. Halt, jump to the ground, shoot your horse, crouch under his carcass and take your chance. And if the steers in their frantic course don't batter you both to pieces at once, you may thank your stars. If not, goodbye to the open air and the open sky, to the quickening kiss and the long-drawn sigh. In Texas, down to the Rio Grande, the cattle gained on us, and just as I felt for my old six-shooter behind in my belt, down came the Mustang, and down came we clinging together. And what was the rest? A body that spread itself over my breast, 2 arms that shielded my dizzy head, 2 lips that hard on my lips were pressed. And then came thunder in my ears, as over a surged a sea of steers, blows that beat blood into my eyes. And when I could rise, Alaska was dead. I gouged out a grave a few feet deep, and there in earth's arms I laid her to sleep. And there she is lying, and no one knows. And the summer shines, and the winter snows. For many a day the flowers have spread a pall of petals over her head, and the little gray hawk hangs aloft in the air, and the sly coyote trots here and there, and the black snake glides and glitters and slides into a rift in a cottonwood tree, and the buzzard sails on and comes and is gone, stately and still, like a ship at sea. And I wonder why I do not care for the things that are, like the things that were. Does half of my heart lie buried there in Texas, down to the Rio Grande? And that's it.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And that, what's the name of that one?
It's Alaska.
Alaska.
Mm.
Wow.
That's my favorite one. Oh, I know a patriotic one I like awfully well too.
Yeah.
It's called the Ragged Old Flag.
Mhm.
It's a dandy.
Do you want to tell us that one?
Well,
Love to hear it.
okay, its author's unknown.
Okay.
It's called A Ragged Old Flag. I walked through a county courthouse square. On a bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your old courthouse is looking a little run down." And he says, "No, it's all right for our little town." But I said, "That old flagpole's leaning a bit. That's a ragged old flag you've got hanging on." He said, "Have a seat." So I sat down. He said, "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" And I said, "Yes, I think it is." And he says, "Well, I don't mean to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag." He says, "You see the little hole in her right up there? She got that when Washington took her across the Delaware. And she got powder burns the night that Francis Scott Key watched her wave when he wrote, 'Oh, say, can you see?' And she took a bad rip at New Orleans when Packingham and Jackson took her on the scene. And we almost lost her at the Alamo, beside the Texas flag. But she waved on through. She was cut by a sword at Chancellorsville, and she was cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg. The south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. In Germany in World War I, she got that big hole from a big gun, and she ran blood red in World War II, and she hung limp and low a time or two. She's been in Korea and Vietnam. She goes where she's sent by her Uncle Sam, and she waves from our ships on the briny foam, and they almost forgot to wave her right here at home. In this good land she has been abused. She's been burned, dishonored, disowned, refused, and the government for which she stands has been criticized throughout the land. She's getting threadbare, she's wearing thin, but she's in good shape for the shape she's in. And since she's been through the fire before, we think she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up each morning. And we take her down.